Welcome to Record-ology.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology, and welcome back to our daily Vlogtober episodes all through the month of October. We've got no time for an on-camera intro because we've got a lot to cover today, a lot of testing, a lot of experimenting. This is going to be a lot of fun. And in partnership with our friends at Hudson Hi-Fi, we're going to present to you a number of products that are designed to eliminate or mitigate static. Now, static is the number one enemy of vinyl records because vinyl in and of itself just has a tendency to collect static. And when you've got two insulating properties rubbing on each other and having that contact, static is built up. And that happens from the moment you take the record out of the sleeve to the moment you put the needle onto the record surface itself. So today, we're going to see what we can do about that. First, let's give a listen to a very staticky record. So as you could hear, our little plastic friend here wasn't giving us much love. And like I said, vinyl records just pick up static. The very act of pulling the record out of the sleeve picks up static. So what are we going to do about that? Some of these things we've seen by themselves in the past, and other things we have not seen, but we've never seen all of this stuff together as a total anti-static solution. This is really cool. This is an anti-static brush. It's essentially an extra tone arm that you add to your turntable, and it cleans, those are goat hairs, it cleans the record as it rotates, but there's also a conductive filament, you can see the black there, that runs through that, and that conductive filament allows it to discharge static electricity that's built up through the grounding terminal on your turntable and preamp setup. It's all very heavy metal construction, which I like. Here's the tone arm itself. It's even got a little lift, counterbalance, all that good stuff. This is the base, and on the base there's adhesive, which we can use to stick it right onto the turntable itself. Grounding wire and a little brush there. So let me get this set up and we'll give it a test. So we've got it connected to our turntable. Now, one thing you need to consider is plinth real estate. Now, what I mean by that is surfaces of the plinth that you can put it, because you have to attach it to your turntable, that isn't being used by something else or won't get in the way. For instance, this kind of looks like a nice open area, but obviously it would get in the way of the tone arm. This area looks nice and out of the way, but it'd have to cross over the tone arm, and it can't do that. Down here would just be annoying. Back there is too crowded. Over here, there was a little bit of room, although it is crowded because it's sharing space with that extra cartridge slot. On this particular turntable, this will allow the dust cover to open and close. There is a grounding wire that, has to go somewhere, so it just goes right off the edge there. You could route that however you want. And again, different turntables will have different amounts of real estate. I've used this anti-static brush tone arm thing before, and on different turntables that have a lot more real estate, and it's not that big of an issue. This one is a little bit tighter of real estate, but it fits, and it allows you to use the turntable with or without it. The one caveat being when you're not using it, it's kind of hard to find a place to stow it. So I've got the lift kind of hanging on the back there. That may be something that would drive you nuts. But again, it all comes down to your turntable. How much space do you have? Okay, friends, I have put the same record on. It is still statically charged as it was before. And I want to show you how this thing works. So basically, you either use a finger lift or just grab it gently. Put it at the start of the record, just like you would a regular tone arm. And there is a height adjustment on the back of this. Just like a regular tone arm, you want that arm itself to be parallel with the surface of the record. So there is a height adjustment, a little brass looking screw there, and I was able to adjust the height, so now it is sitting parallel to the record surface. So you put that on, and then you just start playing your record. It will start rotating inward just like the tone arm does all by itself. And it's cleaning, so every time the record rotates, it's cleaning, and it's also, with that little filament, it's taking out, zapping out all of that static. So let's test that out. Let's hear if we can hear a difference with that static. Interesting. So, to my ears, it is reduced, significantly reduced, but not completely eliminated. And so, yeah, that's cool. And it's one of the tools in the arsenal that Hudson Hi-Fi provides for dealing with static. So let's take a look at some of the others. So what do we do to mitigate the issue of static if we don't have a turntable that has a grounding post that can accept that cool tone arm anti-static brush? Well, if you've got a suitcase player, if you've got an all-in-one, you may need to look at a different solution. So here we've got a little all-in-one suitcase player, and I've recharged the record with static again. Give it a listen. Lots of static on this again. Okay, so our static is back on there. What are some other solutions? Let's start at the beginning. Now, like we said earlier, even a record coming in and out of its sleeve builds up static because both the paper and the vinyl are insulating materials. When they have friction happening between the two of them, that's what causes that static to build up. So let's go right to the source. Let's try to prevent static from building up in the first place, let alone mitigating it once it's already there. One of the best products for doing that are inner and outer sleeves because they cut down on that static. And you may be saying to yourself, how can a sleeve cut down on static? Let's take a closer look. So the inner sleeve is really cool, and I think that it does more than anything because it's got multiple layers of the polyurethane, the HDP, high density polyurethane, but it also has a rice layer. So it's very gentle on your records, and these materials are going to fight against static buildup to begin with. The outer sleeve is a polyurethane, really protects the record surface on the inside, and it really protects the cover on the outside. So protection and anti-static properties that will help to bridge that gap. And let's go ahead and get this record set up the right way. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the inner sleeve itself. And it's as easy as that. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It just does what it does. And then the outer sleeve. Now, some people will put the inner sleeve in the jacket itself, and I like to actually kind of put it on the back like that. Actually, what I really do is I usually put it facing outward like that. So you get the rigidity of the cover of the jacket, but it doesn't, warp the record if there's little inconsistencies, and also prevents the inner sleeve from getting bunched up. And just slide it in like that, and you're done. Now everything's protected inside and out. So I want to try something. And again, these experiments are real. I'm not staging any of this. Let's see if the simple act of, and that record is still statically charged. Let's see if the simple act of putting the super statically charged record in this anti-static inner and outer sleeve bears any difference on the playback. So I'm going to take the record back out and let's listen to see if it's less staticky than it was a minute ago. Okay, here we go. A little bit maybe. I feel like maybe a little bit less. And again, this isn't how you solve a staticky record by sticking it in a sleeve and pulling it back out, but it should help prevent the buildup of additional static. One of the biggest things you can do to improve your static situation is by proper care and cleaning, specifically, of your records. So we have the Ultimate Hudson Hi-Fi Cleaning Kit. It features the anti-static carbon fiber brush. This is a daily thing that I use, absolutely. It's got an anti-static and antibacterial record cleaner. This is another daily use for me. It's got the anti-static stylus cleaner. It works like a little makeup brush. This fluid cleans and discharges static, and you use it to clean the stylus by brushing gently backwards on it. I recommend that so highly, I can't even tell you. This is a dry brush. This is like a felt brush. As you can see there, we've got a spongy, but yet somewhat firm, wrapped in this soft material. So this is a great dry brush. This is really, really exciting. This is an anti-static gel stylus cleaner. You dip your stylus in this. As you can see, it's literally just a piece of gel. and you dip your stylus gently 3 times into this gel, and this does a fantastic job of cleaning off the gunk that builds up on your stylus. They give you a nice soft cleaning cloth to use in conjunction with the wet record cleaner. They give you a couple of these awesome mitts. These are soft on one side, and they allow you to clamshell them like this and pick up a record without having to worry about your fingerprints getting on the surface of the record, yet still protecting the record surface. These are really good. If you're sleeving a bunch of records at once, this is a great way to do that and protect your record investment. And then finally, this little guy. This may look like a coaster, but in actuality, it's a protector for the label. So when you're wet cleaning a record, you put this down on the paper label, and that way when you spray the cleaner on the record, it protects that paper surface. And it's got a little indent where the spindle hole would be. Okay, so I've statically charged the record once again. Give it a listen. And what I am going to do is use all of the methods that we just talked about, except for the static brush, the thing we did at the very beginning. I'm going to use all of these methods at once on this very record before your eyes and see how it improves the crackle. Okay, let's see if it made any difference. I got the volume turned up. I think it did. I think it made a noticeable difference. What do you guys think? Now, let's look at one other sort of subtopic. Once you've got your static situation under control, I recommend thinking about sound isolation, about isolating vibrations, because speakers make vibrations and the record player is going to be hypersensitive to it. So making sure that you don't have a lot of speaker vibrations getting through back to the tone arm, which causes issues, is pretty important. Number one thing, don't put your speakers on the same surface as your turntable. Make sure that they are on their own stands, they're on the floor, they're somewhere on a separate surface. That's the biggest thing you can do. But even beyond that, there's other steps you can take as well. I wanted to show you this. This is a platter mat. This is a rubberized cork with an emphasis on the cork. It's more cork than rubber. But this is a good solution to kind of stop those vibrations from impacting things, because this is the last layer of protection between everything that vibrates and that stylus, which is picking up those vibrations. So just replacing your platter mat, and obviously you need a full-size record player to do that. On this show today, we've talked about both compact, portable units, all-in-one units, beginner units, and higher-end full turntable systems. So this would be one for the latter. This would be for a full-size platter. And on the other side, it's got these raised nubs. So if you prefer this, where it's making minimal points of contact with the record, this is a great way to start getting your vibration situation under control. Now the vibrations will present themselves, the unwanted vibrations will present, because you want good vibrations, no pun intended with the Beach Boys song, but you want good vibrations. You don't want bad vibrations, distortions, feedback, and things like that. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do are sound isolation feet. And here are 2 types. So I wanted to open these up and kind of show you what these do as well. So Hudson Hi-Fi makes different sizes and shapes of these silicone feet. And I've got 2 of them here, and I wanted to talk to you about why you would want these. Again, this has to do with isolating those vibrations. It's a soft silicone, it's pliable, it is soft to the touch, and these Bigfoot ones are really great for just putting under a turntable. So if your turntable has cheap plastic feet, or the old feet have rotted away, you can just put these guys right underneath your turntable. You can do 3 points of contact. That's the most stable, or you can do 4 as well. And there's no adhesive or anything. You just put this right underneath your turntable, and there is enough give and enough elasticity in this silicone material that this will do a great deal to isolate those vibrations from coming back and impacting your audio experience negatively. Now here are some of the smaller ones. Say Hudson Hi-Fi on the bottom. They've also got a 3M adhesive pad. This would be ideal for a speaker or even a smaller turntable perhaps. But you put 4 of these underneath your speakers, especially if you're trying to get away with having them on the same surface as your turntable, which you should not. But if you're trying to do something like that, having good silicone feet, and obviously you just peel and stick, and you're good to go. So a little sidebar there talking about sound isolation. Again, let's come back in for the curtain call here. All of these things are really, really cool. Obviously, I'll have links down below for you guys if you want any of this stuff. I use it, I recommend it, and as such, I'll put links down below. Let me know your tips and tricks for dealing with static and for dealing with sound isolation in the comments below. But my friends, that is going to do it for today. Happy record hunting, happy static fighting, happy sound isolation. We will see you next time.